Spooky month is coming to a close, but don't worry because November is absolutely packed with new fantasy and sci-fi releases. It might be the best month of the year so far. It's not good. It's good, but it's not good. Coming out on November 1st, we have Sistah Samurai. Now, this is a fantasy novella just to kick off the month. It is something short. It's only 130 pages, but it's got the tagline, Afro Samurai meets the Sword of Kaigen in this anime-inspired novella. And look at the cover. Sistah Samurai is an action fantasy novella that is a homage to the anime Afro Samurai. Both works feature a feudal Japan-inspired setting that is rife with anachronisms. The early reviews for this have been terrific, and it just sounds like something a little bit different, and the fact that it's a fantasy novella means it's really easy to just slip into the TBR. So if you're looking for a samurai with some spunk, definitely check out Sistah Samurai, coming November 1st, which is tomorrow. Also coming out on November 1st, we have The Bloodstones by Tori Tekken. And this is Booktube's own Tori Tekken, so if you haven't checked out her channel, go do that. A traitor is executed, his name ripped away from history. Now the kingdom stands on the brink of a succession war that could bring the country to its knees. Forces stalk the darkness, moving pawns into place in a deadly game. Garen and his brothers were not meant to witness the execution, but now they find themselves trapped in the center of a political quagmire. When Garen faces a loss of everything he knows, will he also lose himself? To the south, tribal warlords clash in an endless cycle of violence. Sindri, the daughter of the chieftain, kills for the honor of her people. An alliance with a foreign queen offers the power to unite the tribes, but at what cost? Someday, history will remember them as legends. Jumping on over to November 7th, we have Bookshops and Bonedust by Travis Baldree. This is the prequel to Legends and Lattes. The cozy fantasy phenomenon returns with a prequel. In this prequel novel, we follow Viv before she settles down to open her own coffee shop. When an injury throws a young battle-hungry orc off her chosen path, she may find that what we need isn't always what we seek. I don't think I need to go too deeply into this. If you like Legends and Lattes or some cozy fantasy, this is definitely going to be one to check out. Cozy fantasy that takes place in a bookshop and has adorable animal companions? Yes. Day one, I will be there. I will be listening to it on audiobook because Travis Baldree does his own audiobooks and he's really talented as not only a writer but an audiobook narrator, so I will be listening to this on audiobook November 7th. Also coming out on November 7th, we have Murtagh, the Fifth Inheritance Cycle book. This is the series beginning with Eragon by Christopher Paolini. Obviously, Eragon is absolutely huge, and this is a continuation. This is book 5, so I believe you have to have read the first 4 before moving on to Murtagh. But this is really interesting to see that over a decade later, he's come back to write another book in this huge series. And all I've seen is excitement and hype from the fans. So if you want to relive some of that nostalgic dragon riding goodness, Murtagh comes out November 7th. And it's a chunky book. It's over 700 pages long, so it'll keep you busy for a while. Also coming on November 7th, we have Dinosaurs! Partial Function by JCM Byrne. A little correction, I did mention JCM Byrne a couple months ago when he released The Shadow of Hyperion, and in that video I mentioned Dog, an animal companion that's meant to be absolutely amazing. I was wrong, it's not in that book, it is in this book, Partial Function, which is a brand new series. You can start with this without reading Wistful Ascending and that Hybrid Helix series. And just listen to this synopsis, it sounds so good. If Taken starred Michelle Yeoh and was set on Jurassic Park, inspired by Cradle. Monster hunter Akina Azure inherited the most powerful weapon in the martial world, before retiring to a peaceful life raising her twin girls. The Reaver has them kidnapped, thinking Akina will trade that weapon for their safe return. Will she? Or will she use it to wreak a terrible retribution on the men who took her girls? You get one guess. Yes. I don't have much more to say about it. I don't think it needs much more said about it. This book sounds amazing. And also coming out on November 7th, this day's packed. Just this one day November's packed. We have The Darkness Before Them by Matthew Ward. The first in an exciting, action-packed new trilogy from epic fantasy author Matthew Ward. The Darkness Before Them introduces readers to a world ruled by a dangerous immortal king, where souls fuel magic, and a supernatural mist known as the Veil threatens to engulf the land. Immortal kings, soul magic, supernatural mists. This is the author of Legacy of Ash, which I've heard really good things about, so I'm excited to keep my eye on this new trilogy that he's working on, especially when the cover looks like that.
Nice.
And coming out on November 14th, we have what may be a point of contention, so I'm just going to run over this really quickly. We have The Narrow Road Between Desires by Patrick Rothfuss. Now this is a novella and is also rehashing and building upon his story The Lightning Tree. So this is an expanded reimagining of this already published short story that was in Rogues. And this novella follows Bast, a character from the Kingkiller Chronicles. Now I know there's some frustration with Rothfuss, but I would have been amiss not to include it in the video. So that is coming out November 14th. My most anticipated book in November is also coming out in November 14th, and that is Book 4 of the Muderbot Diaries. Now, if you're new to the channel, I love the Muderbot Diaries. I have mentioned it once or twice before. This is one of my favorite series of all time. I have been putting off Fugitive Telemetry because I didn't like the idea that once I've read it, there's no more new Muderbot. So I can now read that because there is a new one coming out next month. And System Collapse is a full novel, but it's on the short side. It is 256 pages. However, all of Muderbot's adventures have been pretty short, and so far they've been amazing. So I'm still super excited for this. And if you somehow not heard about Muderbot before, it follows a sec unit, which is kind of like a droid that is rented out to companies who do planetary exploration as a type of bodyguard. But this sec unit that we follow has named itself Muderbot. And it doesn't want to play bodyguard for these dumb humans that make silly mistakes. It just wants to stay in its wee pod and watch its entertainment feed. More Muderbot, baby! Coming out on November 20th, we have Secret of the Thistle. This is the sequel to Salt in the Wound. I love the covers for this series, especially the typography. As Secret of the Thistle is a sequel, we will go over the synopsis for book 1. That way, if you read that, you'll know if you want to go on to the sequel or not. Our world is lost to time. Only our myths remain. Centuries after the rain turned, civilization is a distant memory. Once, rain was a symbol of hope and harvest. Now it brings only death. Shadowy rain wights form in rainfall, hunting for victims with their long teeth and claws. Humanity survives in sheltered cities and canvas-covered towns. Travel between these patches of limited safety is rare and dangerous. It's what Galahad lives for. While seeking a lost cache of salt, a fortune he plans to use to build a shelter over his hometown, Galahad is betrayed by the friends he holds dearest. They leave him for dead. Unfortunately for them, he lives. Torn between seeking justice or revenge, Galahad knows one thing for certain: that treasure is his, and he'll do anything to reclaim it. Coming out on November 21st, we have Defiant, the fourth and final book in the Skyward series from Brandon Sanderson. I really liked Skyward, I thought it was terrific. Starsight I still really enjoyed. I wasn't fussed for Cytonic. However, with the ending of Cytonic, there were some really interesting world building reveals that will be really interesting to see how they play out in this fourth and final book. And Sanderson is known for his really good endings, so I'm really hopeful that Defiant will be really good. And while yes, the US covers are nice, those UK covers. And last but certainly not least, on November 28th we have Kingdom of Without. A wily young thief must use her wits to survive futuristic alternate history Beijing in this Les Miserables inspired young adult cyberpunk that is perfect for fans of Six of Crows and Full Metal Alchemist. At this point, I'm just inclined to mention all cyberpunk books because cyberpunk's great. However, an alternate history Beijing with influences from Six of Crows and Full Metal Alchemist, that sounds incredible. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is my favourite anime of all time, so the fact that this is taking influence from that, and it's cyberpunk, and the covers this month have been on fire, but this one as well is so good. I tried to warn you, you're gonna have no money at the end of November, but it's not my fault. Blame the talented authors. Let me know in the comments below if you're interested in reading any of these, or if not, let me know what you are going to be reading in the month of November. Are you going to pick up a different new release, or are you going to be working on some of that backlog TBR? Let me know in the comments below, and my finger just cracked when I did that. But thank you very much for watching. Outro.